All right, I pulled up this story from Mediaite.
Oh my.
It's going to be a red wedding. January 6th committee airs clips of extremists calling for violence after Trump promised wild protest. You ready? It says, during its hearing on Tuesday, the committee first showed former President Donald Trump's December 19th, 2020 tweet calling on his supporters to come to Washington, the day Congress would certify Joe Biden's electoral victory. Be there, will be wild. The committee then showed clips of fringe pro-Trump commentators, including Alex Jones and Tim Pool, responding excitedly to Trump's call. It also showed clips of extremists calling for violence on January 6th. Okay, so they do separate Alex Jones and me from being extremists. I'm surprised. I assumed they would have called Alex Jones an extremist, but they call us fringe pro-Trump commentators. Fringe? At the time of that, we were the #1 political show on YouTube with 120 million views per month. Well, I should say it was around 100. And then with podcast views, these leftists were making these charts showing like all the right-wing channels. And then Tim Pool was like massively above
What's
that.
happening here?
Fringe. That's the only thing I take issue with.
That's not fair.
People are hitting me up and they're like, "Are you mad? They're calling you pro-Trump?" And I'm like, "I voted for the guy. What do you like? What
Be
am I?"
flattered when they hate you. It means you're doing everything right.
This one's amazing. So here's the best part about this article. It says, clips from fringe pro-Trump commentators Alex Jones and Tim Pool, but it doesn't actually quote either of us. It quotes Matt Bracken and Salty Cracker. And then, a cracker again. And then it's like they can't show anything from me because what I actually said was so completely innocuous. And I have the clip for you all right here. So let me fix the audio.
Yeah.
It always auto plays. I knew the audio. So let me, there's Alex Jones. And I just want to show you the part where it shows me talking because some people, they swear and we're trying to be family friendly, but here you go. And now Donald Trump is calling on his supporters to descend on Washington, D.C., January 6th. He is now. That was
extremism if I've ever seen it.
And then there's one more bit. Let me show you one more bit.
I'm scared.
This could be Trump's last stand. And it's a time when he has specifically called on his supporters to arrive in D.C. That's it.
Are you excited? I can't tell.
There was like one other clip where it's like, I read the headline and I was like, Trump promises a wild protest on D.C. on January 6th. And
they're trying to discredit you. It's not that you said anything bad. They want all the boomers who are watching, all 10 of them, to think that you're a bad person.
It's weird because that boomer demographic we have tons of people who are in that age bracket who watch the show and who comment on all the time. But the people who do watch that stuff, they're aging out of voting and being involved in politics. I don't understand why they're chasing after the demographic that's retiring and handing off the world to the younger generation.
It's all they have left. It's the last ones plugged into their matrix of lies, and they're struggling. Maybe if we can just convince these 10 people that they'll tell their kids.
But also it's because they're not handing it off to the younger generation. They're hanging on to it. They're holding on to the power as tight as they can.
That's
for
true.
as long as they can.
Well,
I mean, if you look at, this is my parents' generation, and they still call us all kids. They don't act like we're capable human beings, and maybe we're not, but we certainly are more than their geriatric selves are going to be. And the only reason they call you fringe is because they want to separate you from the mainstream. They want you to be fringe, so they try and manifest that you are, even though you aren't.
You have been othered.
We have
it's an othering process.
Yeah.
We had a Times Square billboard for 2 months. I mean, that's mainstream.
That's fringe.
Before the show, we were
Sure.
talking about the reconciliation, if it's even possible to reconcile going forward, and like if you think that things feel fractured, culturally, and it's like before we were all being lied to by ABC, NBC, CBS. They were deciding what the narrative was. Everyone had a unified, whether it was a lie or not, vision. Now it's fractured, and I don't know that they're attempting to force the narrative.
My favorite thing about this is the people who are tweeting at me and they're like, "You better get your affairs in order, Tim."
What?
Like, "Oh, it's coming." I'm like, "Bro, you sound just like the QAnon people who are like, it's gonna happen. They're gonna arrest everybody." No, they're not.
Move those goalposts. Just keep moving them. Q is right.
Yeah, I'm like,
80 years.
dude, it's a clip of me reading a Fox News article.
There was
But it's the whole January 6th thing is like an attempt to hold on to the bull. This flipping, like America's changed. It's a different place than it was 50 years ago or 40 years ago. There's the internet and individual liberty of like individual journalism is taken off now. It's another realm. but they want to like really like smash it out and just keep it because they think that it's going to go haywire and it will fall apart if they don't, which might be something to that.
I love that they're doing this because it was 2020. It was the riots that woke me up from my former stoner slumber where I was like, wait a minute. Lighting things on fire and smashing everything is not cool, man. And I started getting mad and everyone's like, well, clearly you're racist. I'm like, I'm racist because I don't want to watch people like be anarchists in the street, not even the cool ones.
You're like, I watched a video of 2 white women vandalizing a black neighborhood. And they're like, no, you're racist.
Right?
The black women were pleading with the white Antifa to stop. It's like, no, don't care.
We saw video of that over and over again. That kept happening.
I think a lot of people are waking up because of this bull poopy.
Bull poopy.
Yeah.
I actually, I was talking to a couple people, and there are some people who are intently watching the January 6 hearings who don't like Trump, but are like post-liberal, disaffected liberal types. They don't like Trump. They don't want to vote for him, but they hate the establishment. And they're saying like, okay, that was it. Like when I saw you on there, I was like, what? Mm-hmm. So there were people who want to believe that Trump is really bad, but who know the show, who have watched it and actually pay attention, and they're like, I'm out. I've seen leftists on Twitter putting like ha 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 laughing, being like they included Tim Pool. This is such insane BS.
It is insane BS, and Jamie Raskin has this to hold on to. He really needs this to succeed. He had a very difficult time the past couple of years. His son, I believe, killed himself horribly. And after that, I feel like Jamie Raskin is just totally off the rails. He needs this to succeed because I don't know how you face that kind of tragedy.
I don't know. How's Raskin involved?
He's on the committee.
He's the one who played the clips.
Yeah.
A bunch of people have told me that I should sue for defamation because the insinuation is that these are people encouraging or inciting. That's not what Raskin said. Raskin said promoting wild protest. Promoting is an opinion, nebulous term that doesn't mean anything. Chosen. Yeah, I've been through this before. These people are smarmy and they know the words they use and they use them on purpose. So there was one outlet that claimed Tim Pool pushed a conspiracy theory. And do you know what it really was? It was me debunking it. Mm-hmm. But by doing a story on it at all, it was pushing that story out to people. So I reached out to a lawyer and they were like, oh, but you did push it. I mean, that's an opinion statement, not a fact statement. And I was like, are you kidding? And they were like, the fact that you told the story to people, whether you were in favor of it or not, is still pushing. You will lose in court.
Essentially, everything's turned into TMZ, Us Weekly, and In Touch. This is what celebrities used to have to go through with just gossip and bullcrap. And now gossip and bullcrap is our news. And people watch it and they believe it. Like what? Looking at the National Enquirer, like Elvis had babies with aliens. It's seriously that stupid.
A friend messaged me talking about something about like the podcast and how they like don't really get celebrity news that much anymore. And I was like, politics is pop culture.
It is.
So we like, it's like team sports doesn't even matter anymore. Team sports is just red and blue, Democrat, Republican. And so the issue is because of that mentality. I was talking to this journalist earlier on Twitter about the January 6th committee and how it's all lies. And this is a person who's like a normie journalist who is kind of like, well, you know, maybe. So I went into ground.news, and I encourage everyone to do this. Go to the blind spotter and take any blue check journalist you can find. This is a great project for all of you who want to help create the database. Load in any blue check journalist from NBC, from the New York Times, from CNN, from MSNBC, and all of them invariably show like an 80 to 90% left-wing bias. Mm-hmm. That they only consume news from left-wing sources. So I started just sending, I'm like, take a look at this, take a look at this, sending these people, and they're like, whoa, like these are NBC reporters, and they only consume leftist sources. And then I'm like, and here's Ben Shapiro, 50-50.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I edit in the morning, when I'm like looking for stories that we want to run, I listen to NPR, I read the Washington Post, I read the New York Times, I read Fox, I read Politico, Axios, Daily Wire. I look at literally everything that's out there, and then I try and figure out like what I think is interesting to talk about that day. But I mean, I start the day with, you know, Jack Posobiec's podcast and NPR and, you know, the New York Times, the Daily. Like, this is what I listen to every morning.
You're biased.
Yeah. I'm
oh my gosh, look at that.
I wasn't even on
goodness.
there because I deactivated my Twitter.
That's great.
Wow, I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that either. That's mostly because look who I hang out with. I hang out with Jack all the time.
You're a far right extremist. I can't believe I'm sitting next to you.
I don't know who wrote this software because I don't know who's deciding what's left, right, and center.
Convinced.
There's it's ground news, and I think
Also,
they're actually pretty
Is the
good.
code open? What are they?
Misinformed, their account is suspended, but they're moderates fully.
But these are just your influencers. But I think the reason it's 96% right is because you probably just post post-millennial all the time.
Oh, I do post millennial all the
Okay.
time.
Okay, so
Right.
if you get rid of the post-millennial thing, I wonder what the number would be. If you could filter it, that'd be cool.
I pretty much just post millennial.
Yeah.
Sometimes I make little comments.
Is New York Post left or right now?
I don't
Center
know.
right.
They're sort of in the middle.
Because it used to be far left.
Everything's the right now.
The Post was
You're
far
the
left.
right.
The left was like an excessive liberal mag back in the 90s.
The New York Post?
Yeah, the Post. It was almost like the National Enquirer.
Interesting. Oh, yeah.
They're kind of a
I remember they were
tabloid,
tabloidy. Yeah.
MSNBC was they had Tucker Carlson.
That's
and
right.
I've told people this, and they don't believe me. And I'm like, you don't realize what life was like in the
He had
olden
an
days.
interesting conversation recently with the former BuzzFeed guy, Semaphore. There's this new,
Oh yeah, Ben Smith.
Yeah, Ben Smith. And Ben Smith was trying to make him out to be a racist. And Tucker Carlson was like, I'm 100% mad at white, overeducated liberals. That's who I'm pissed at, you know?
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.